You woke up this morning and you already felt it, that knot in your chest, that place between your heart and your stomach that tightens when you think about everything you have to do today. Your son needs help with his homework. Your work is waiting. The house won't clean itself. The soccer practice needs to be scheduled. The dentist appointment has been pending for 3 months. And somewhere in the middle of all this, you have that feeling that you should be doing more, being more, somehow becoming that mother who has everything under control, the one who doesn't yell when she's tired, the one who never feels like she's failing. But here's the truth that nobody says out loud. You're not alone in that feeling. And worse, you were taught that this is a sign of weakness, that strong women don't feel this way. I'm going to tell you something that might sound strange. That feeling of inadequacy you're experiencing right now, this morning, it's not failure. Actually, it's one of the most honest and powerful marks of a heart that loves truly. And God doesn't see this as a flaw. He sees it as the beginning of something extraordinary. What you're about to discover in this video is that there's a completely different path than the one the world taught you. It's not about being stronger. It's not about trying harder. It's not about being perfect. It's about recognizing something that nobody has the courage to say out loud. You were made to depend. And that's exactly where everything changes. If you woke up feeling like this message is for you, I'm asking you to subscribe to the channel. Also, leave a comment telling me one word that describes how you feel as a mother this morning. Let's walk this path together. Now, let me show you why you're watching this video. There are 5 movements, 5 practical steps, that transform that feeling of emptiness into deep security. But these steps aren't disconnected. One doesn't work without the other. They're like stairs. And you need to understand the first one to really grasp why the others make all the difference. She tries everything. Long conversations about values, clear rules, consistent discipline. Agreements she makes with her children hoping that this time, just this time, something finally clicks. But there's a moment when she feels it. Trying to bail out ice. No matter how much you scoop, the water slips through. It refreezes. It goes right back to where it started. And it's at this exact point that something liberating happens. Because you discover that this isn't your failure. It never was. What's happening is that you're trying to do something you weren't created to do alone. You're trying to reach your child's heart with only your hands, only your voice, only your presence. And no matter how much you love, no matter how intensely you love, there's a place that no mother can reach. There's a depth that only Christ can touch. Think about it with me. When you want to teach your child what faith is, what trust is, what real hope is, how do you do it? By telling stories? By showing them your example? All of that matters. But there's a moment when you hit a wall, and it's exactly there, where you can't go any further, that you finally stop and perceive the truth. That truth is simple and revolutionary. You were made to be a vessel, not the source. When a mother stops believing that she has to produce all the answers and starts admitting her limitations, something extraordinary happens inside her. The weight doesn't disappear, but it changes shape. It stops being a burden that drains you and becomes an invitation to something deeper. And it's precisely in this recognition of who you really are, limited, finite, insufficient by design, that the door opens to the next step. Because when you admit that you're not the source, you naturally begin to seek out who is. Now she's ready for something different. It's not that rushed prayer, that, "Lord, bless my son," whispered between dishes with your mind somewhere else. No, that old way doesn't work anymore because now she knows she's not asking favors from a machine. She's having a conversation with the Father. Remember that moment when you finally got out of bed to pray because you couldn't sleep? Or when you locked yourself in the bathroom because you needed to cry for real and talk to God without pretending you're okay? That's the kind of prayer that changes everything. Constant prayer for a mother doesn't mean becoming a nun or spending hours in contemplation. As lovely as that would be, it's not realistic for someone like you who has bills to pay, kids to drive to school, and work waiting. Constant prayer means small, honest conversations throughout your day. It's waking up and whispering, "Father, I can't carry this today. Help me." It's during your commute recognizing, "My child is drifting away and it breaks my heart." It's at night, when everything is quiet, surrendering every worry like you're leaving a letter on the Lord's heart, and something magically begins to shift. Not because God is seeing you for the first time. He's always seen you. But because you're finally letting Him see you. You're being honest. You're allowing the worst parts of you, your deepest fears, your darkest doubts, to come out of hiding and into the presence of the one who's never alarmed by truth. Here's a simple practice that helps tremendously. Keep a journal by your bed. Write down one prayer request every day. Write your child's name, the specific situation, the truth you need to remember in that moment. Reread these prayers when discouragement comes, because as you keep praying, you begin to notice something subtle but profound. You realize that prayer doesn't change God, so He'll care for you. Prayer changes you, so you recognize that He's always been caring. And that's why this constant prayer naturally leads you to understand something even more important about who your children really are. Because when you pray, you stop seeing only the behavior. You begin to see the heart. Many mothers pray only for circumstances. Lord, let her pass the test. Lord, change his rebellious behavior. Lord, keep her away from the wrong friends. All of that is valid. All of that matters. But there's a much deeper, much more transformative prayer. It's when you stop asking for change in what's visible and start interceding for what's invisible, the heart. Because that son of yours who's always irritated, the issue isn't just the behavior. It's the lack of true joy. It's the hardness that's growing there. That daughter of yours who rejects faith, it's not just rebellion, it's spiritual coldness. It's a heart that's fallen asleep. When you begin to pray like this, Lord, open his eyes, touch her heart, make him sensitive to your touch. Free her from this coldness. You're not asking for quick fixes anymore. You're interceding for the most difficult transformation, but also the most real and lasting one. Try doing this. Set aside a few minutes each week, maybe Monday morning or Thursday evening, and pray specifically for the areas of the heart, not for behavior problems, but for the foundations of the soul. Pray for their wisdom, for spiritual sensitivity, for the self-control that only Christ can give, for true joy. This isn't a shopping list of demands. It's an act of spiritual motherhood. It's you recognizing that yes, you gave birth to their bodies, but it's the Spirit of God who births new life in their hearts. Here's the truth that changes your perspective. Every child is born with a natural inclination to turn away from God. You already knew that deep in your heart, even if you'd never put it into words. But knowing this doesn't make you give up. Actually, it awakens you to a kind of love that's much more patient, much more merciful, much more aware of grace. When you see a stubborn child, you don't see just stubbornness anymore. You see a heart that needs to be touched. And when you begin praying for hearts instead of behaviors, you change too. Your own heart becomes softer, less desperate, more guided by grace. But, and here comes the big challenge, this intercession isn't a 1 week or 1 month effort. It's for a lifetime, and you're going to need strength for it. You're going to have days when your heart is full of hope. Your son said something that seemed to show real change. Your daughter participated in something at church. There's visible progress. But you're also going to have weeks when it feels like everything is getting worse. That teenager you believed was starting to wake up spiritually is now more closed off than before. That child you thought was beginning to understand is now more rebellious, and you're going to want to quit. In those hours, you need to remember Mark chapter 9. There's this father who brings his son to Jesus. The boy is convulsing, falling to the ground, foaming at the mouth. It looks like he's getting worse, not better. The situation deteriorates right there in front of Jesus before it improves. And this father, this man who's already tried everything, has to hold on to hope precisely when hope makes the least sense. You're like that father. You've prayed, you've interceded, you've surrendered everything, and now you're watching your child face storms that seem bigger than ever before. But notice something important. Jesus didn't abandon that boy in his convulsion. He touched him. And because of that touch, that boy came out of that encounter completely transformed. Perseverance for you isn't carrying everything alone. Perseverance is continuing to believe that Jesus is there, even when you can't see him working. It's continuing to pray for your child's heart, even when he's further from God than he's ever been. It's continuing to intercede even when, from a human perspective, the case seems hopeless. And you know what habit helps her most in those hours? Mark a day on your calendar, maybe once a week, to give thanks for the future work. That's right. Give thanks for what you haven't yet seen happen. Because anticipatory gratitude is an act of faith. It's you saying to heaven, I don't see the change yet, but I trust you're working. And because of that, I'm grateful. Because while Jesus lives, nothing is lost. While he lives, there's always hope. And you need to cling to this in the days when darkness seems total. But you know, there's only one way for you to keep the strength to persevere, a way that the whole world tells you to ignore or put off. There's no perseverance without rest, and there's no rest without Christ. Have you ever stopped to think about that? You take time off from work. You sleep at night, when you can. You take some time for yourself when there's time left over, which is almost never. But none of that truly rests you. None of that calms that knot in your chest, because the exhaustion you carry isn't just physical, it's spiritual. It's that tiredness that comes from trying to be enough for everyone while inside you feel completely empty. And the solution isn't more exercise, it's not more therapy, it's not another 5-minute devotional checked off your agenda. The solution is for you to simply return, come home, run to Christ. It can be in the coffee that's getting cold while you pack your son's backpack. It can be in that minute in the car before you go into work. It can be in the tight hug from your child when you come home exhausted. It can be in that silent cry in the bathroom when you finally get 5 minutes alone. These are the places where Christ is waiting, not to judge you for not being perfect, to strengthen you to keep going. And there's a simple exercise that helps you keep your heart connected throughout the whole week. Choose one biblical truth, something small, but something that touches you. Something like, "My feelings don't define reality," or "God cares for everything while I sleep," or "Grace is enough for today." Repeat that truth to yourself throughout the day, in the shower, in the car, while you wait in line at the grocery store, because that's breathing faith in the middle of chaos. It's you allowing God's word to sustain you, not just once in your morning devotional, but all the time. As you learn to run to Christ every day, you also learn to surrender every day. The pain, the frustration, the anxiety, that terrible fear about your children's future, you surrender it all. And you discover that faith doesn't grow when you have no problems. Faith grows when you're certain that Jesus is waiting to meet you in the middle of them. And it's that discovery that changes everything. Because now you're not trying to be the solution anymore. You're simply running to the one who is, every single day, one step after another. Now that you know these 5 steps, the question that remains is simple. What are you going to do with this? Because nothing changes if you leave this video and stay exactly the same. Nothing changes if you save these words for when you have time. And nothing changes if you keep believing that you have to carry everything alone. So I ask you a question that only you can answer. What are you holding on to so tightly that you need to place in God's hands right now? Which worry about your child is weighing more than anything else you're carrying? What's keeping you from trusting that He's taking care of everything, even when you don't see the signs? Make a move, now, not tomorrow. Write down on a piece of paper what you're going to leave with Christ today, and make it a habit. If this message has touched your heart, share it with a friend you know who needs to hear it, because this truth is meant to spread among us. And leave a comment letting me know, which of these 5 steps do you most need to live out right now? Which one is going to transform your motherhood? May God bless you. May He take care of your home with an intensity that you can feel. And may you discover today the rest that you've been looking for your whole life.